This is the Reds Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Locked On Reds Postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we recap each and every Cincinnati Reds game just minutes after the action ends. My name is Tim Daniel. I have been covering the Cincinnati Reds in podcast form for about 5 years at publications such as the Riverfront and Late Night Reds. You can check me out here, like I said, after every single Reds game for free on your podcast app of choice or here on YouTube. No paywalls to worry about here. You can also check out my good friends Jeff Carr and Stephen Alvin-Baker Monday through Friday over here on the Locked On Reds podcast as well. Yes, Stephen, thank you so much for asking. I feel a lot better. I took a lot of cough drops today. I drank a lot of orange juice today. I took a lot of cold medicine today, and I feel okay. I wish I was talking about a better result of a baseball game, but we will get to it. So we're going to talk about the questionable call at of home plate in the bottom of the eighth. We're going to talk about Elly making some mental lapses today, and we're going to talk about Nick Martinez's struggle. So it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a negative day. I'm going to do my best to find my silver lining. I normally do, as you guys know, in my games. But first, here is what we are talking about tonight.
This is what you'll be talking about.
You know, we're going to talk about Chris Segal. For those who don't know the name Chris Segal was the home plate umpire tonight who made a call that really changed the aspect of tonight's game and stopped the Reds from a chance at rallying. Now, I will preface this like I say when I always do when I have an umpire conversation, because I know someone will find a comment and they'll find a way to use it against me. I am not blaming Chris Segal for the reason the Cincinnati Reds lost tonight's baseball game and snapped their winning streak. I am just making sure I get that out there so no one looks to use that against me. But I'm sure someone will. What I am going to say is Chris Segal made an embarrassing call tonight at home plate in the bottom of the eighth. Elly De La Cruz, who had a really, first off, let's talk about Elly De La Cruz's. We're going to talk about all the bad of Elly today here in a bit. But, man, that was 103 miles off the bat, that rocket he hit to get on base there. Mind you, we're talking about all these bad things. Elly got on base twice tonight. That's what we want to see from him, obviously. That he hits on the bottom of the eighth, right on the screws, bounces off my man Ben Williamson. Takes 103.3 off the bill of the cap. Like, kudos, my guy, for taking that. I'm sure he probably was just like shocked at how hard it was hitting that it bounced off his hat, and still managed to not be injured. So that's great news. Found a way to field the ball, but it was too late. Obviously, Elly gets on the bag, and Elly gets what looks like it's going to be his second steal of the game. Nick and Austin Hayes strikes out on the at-bat, and they call batter interference on Cal Raleig's throw down to second base. Okay, so I don't have the ability here on the postcast to show you guys the play-by-play, but if you look it up, this call sucks. All right, and I probably shouldn't say that. It's probably not PG of me, but that call was terrible. And if you're Chris Segal, you know that you don't want to be talked about when you make a bad call, right? And that call was awful. Now, again, not saying that's the reason the Reds lost this game. They were down 5-0 at one point and had to rally back, and had a rally that fell just short. Shout out the bottom of the lineup. Actually, we're pretty good today. Had some good at-bats. But the bat doesn't make contact whatsoever with Cal Raleig's throw, first off. Second, I understand he stumbles on the swing, but Cal Raleig's arm is plenty above his head. It's not like the bat is like making him change his arm angle by any means. And Elly was safe by a long shot on that throw too as well. So it's a horrible call because you take a runner out of scoring position for the Reds. Your fastest player, who, if Santiago Espinal, who pitch hits next, comes up and has a blooper there, it's probably 5-4. I know it's not 5-4. It's not probably 5-4. It's for sure 5-4 if he has a ball that hits the ground there. And you also just kind of manage to take the sails out of the wind out of the Red sails there. So Carrie says here they claim the foot was too forward. That's what that called made the call. What does foot too forward mean? I heard Larkin talk about in the World Series. He had a play that on the third second base they called an interference, and I was one, so I can't tell you anything about that play and how they're similar by any means. But this was up there in one of the worst calls I've seen, and really cost the Reds a big opportunity to come back in that game. I just thought that tonight was a lot of missed opportunities for the Reds, for sure. They had many chances to either take a lead here or Adrian calls him Frank Sinatra's explanation about the interference call. I love that you called him Frank Sinatra. That's awesome. Fly me to the moon. I love it. But this is where, again, what I'm trying to say, the Reds had plenty of opportunities to win this game tonight. They had plenty of opportunities to make plays to win this game. Bullpen was good again tonight. Gave them a chance to get their offense going and rally back. And then I thought that the offense was pretty decent overall. I know they only scored 3 runs. I know they lost tonight. They had 10 hits tonight. 10 hits. So you can make the case the Reds for sure had a chance to win this game. Obviously, look, they were 3 for 5 with the runners in scoring position. They left 5 guys on base tonight. Offense was good. They just couldn't put it together. And this is what happens when you have situations like this, right? Now, am I completely going to discredit the 4-game win streak because they lost tonight? No, absolutely not. I was actually impressed that they fought back into this game, because how many times last year did we see these games they'd be down 5-0 and the most they get across the board was 1? Tonight, they put themselves in a chance to really make a rally at this. And look, they have a chance tomorrow to still win this series, though. I think Brian Wu is going to be a really fun pitcher for Seattle, and you're going to see him going against Brady Singer. But just a frustrating night, and it's disappointing, but I still feel really good about where the Reds are at. I don't think it's a coincidence that they had a really good game hitting the ball, and Jimmy Candelario wasn't in the lineup either, but we'll save that for when I have a longer episode to do. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. I don't think we need to talk anymore about Chris Segal, because I'm sure that's what he wants anyway. But Elly De La Cruz had some of those Elly De La Cruz plays that make us scratch our head. And I'm going to talk about those here in just a second, right after this. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks. The easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for a chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. For me, we have baseball tonight. We have NBA play-in tournament. I love in the Dodgers-Rockies game, Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 bases. And in the Kings game, again in the playoff against the Dallas Mavericks, I love Zach LaVine over 3.5 3-pointers made. Prize Picks even runs cool promos like Taco Tuesday, where they discount player projections for up to 25% for even more value, and payouts are fast, safe, and secure. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. There's nothing better than catching a Major League Baseball game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, tickets drops as time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. I love when I'm down at GABP, hanging out, grabbing a beer in the Dora area, grabbing some tacos at Condado, checking my phone to see when can I get the best tickets possible. And this is when it happens, is right here at Game Time. I love that I can preview my exact seat before purchasing. No bad surprises when I get to the stadium either. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first order. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight on the Reds Postcast, and thank you all for the kind words about me having my voice back. I feel a million times better. I have to thank all these cough drops that I took that my beautiful wife Grace, supplied me to not only get me through a podcast, but get me through a Reds game that had a lot of missed opportunities. So I'm excited to be here as always for free after every single Reds game. No paywalls here. And on this same feed, Monday through Friday, Locked On Reds, Jeff Carr, Stephen Offenbaker, killing it over there, having a great show daily. They've been doing a lot of live this week on YouTube. So hopefully you guys been in the chats for those hanging out as well. I know Carrie's been there. I know she's a big Locked On supporter as well. So want to make sure we give kudos to them. All right, guys, here's where we had tonight's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
So tonight's turning point was Cal Raleigh. No homer in particular, just Cal Raleigh hitting 2 big home runs. Also hitting 100 on his career. So congrats to Cal Raleigh for that. 2 pretty big bombs. Really nice day for him. Really kind of has Seattle go forward. I mean, they lose by 2 tonight. Cincinnati does. And Cal Raleigh has 2 solo shots. So pretty easy to kind of point it there as well. But hey, give the guys credit. Give Seattle their credit. They were the better team tonight. They didn't shoot themselves in the foot as much as the Reds did, which is where we're getting to now. And I will always come on here and celebrate Elly De La Cruz games. I will always celebrate his wins. I will always have fun with you guys talking about his insane things that only he can do. Whether he's running a ball down in like deep left field before he goes foul like he did last night, whether he's hitting a grand slam on bobblehead day. You guys know how much I love talking about the good of Elly De La Cruz. But if I don't talk about the frustrating and the bad of Elly De La Cruz, I am not doing my job. And tonight, now, does get on base twice. Does have a stolen base. Great. Had some Elly De La Cruz moments that we used to see last year that really make us scratch our head. And with the way that his season has been so far, where he hasn't been as dominant as a lot of us expected to be, I do believe he will be there. If you look at his Baseball Savant page, he does have a lot of unlucky contact, and he hits some rockets right at people. I mean, even last night, that rocket to first base, that's an out. It's baseball, it happens. But I do think that his breakout for this year is coming. It looks like he's tapping into that pretty soon. He's drawing walks. And Sadak used to tell me all the time when I talked to him about Elly. When Elly starts drawing walks is when you know things are going to start coming together. But tonight was a bad Elly De La Cruz day. Big picture. So first pitch of the game, Julio Rodriguez hits the ball to shortstop. Elly has an error. Typical Elly error at that. One of those ones. It's not like he just mishandled the ball. It's not like, just doesn't get in front of it and just kind of loses the bat and gets Seattle on a runner immediately in the game. A fast one at that, and Julio Rodriguez, he comes around the score. First run of the game on that Randy Arozarena hit. That bottom of that inning, Elly comes up, has an okay at bat going. I think, he's battling. He does pretty well. And I'm here all the time. You guys know it. I'm here yelling when Elly gets bad calls against him that call strikeouts. He should have swung in that first at bat. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. It's on the line. But it was in the zone. You got to take your bat off your shoulder there, buddy. You deserve to get called there. It's 94 miles an hour, Elly. Come on. You got to swing the bat there. I will live if you strike out and you miss that ball or you foul tip it. I can live with that. But you didn't give yourself a chance in that one there. So that happens. Then third inning, as the Reds are trying to see if they can get anything going, they're down 2-0. They're trying to make something happen here. He draws a walk. And you're like, awesome. Perfect. Runner on base. Elly's on first base in scoring position, right? Ball bounces. It's anything's possible with him. Steals second. You feel even better. Gets picked off. Bryce Miller picks him off. And I'm not even mad about the last strikeout. I thought that was a bad pitch to swing at, but I don't think that he I just don't. It was one of those games with him, and I'm stumbling my words here, just trying to figure out the best way to describe my disappointment. But he has to. I can live if you're struggling consistently because it's baseball. Baseball is really hard. If you're struggling to get hits for stretches of time, okay, everyone goes through it. Part of the game. if you're not giving yourself chances and you're costing your team runs on the base path, cannot have that. Cannot have that. And the Reds have had a lot of that already this year. It was something we saw last year as well, where they've had outs on the base path that have taken runs off the board. And this game, you lose by 2. You have those 2 plays right there. You have the error that gives up a run. You get picked off in scoring position. And you should have been in scoring position on your second steal that wasn't called a steal, even though it was a steal because it was a terrible call by the umpire. I will let it go at some point, guys. I promise. But I just had to get that little rant out. But tonight, I'm not saying Elly De La Cruz either is the reason they lost, but he did not contribute as much as he should have to the Reds getting a win. So we will go ahead and cause that as well. But hey, let's talk about something happy. Here is the Locked On Reds Postcast Player of the Game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I've seen the comments, so I want to make sure I show some of them. Just, when I get on my rants, I have a little bit of a hard time. Where's Weir's traveling to? Mentioned right here. Trevino deserves to move up the lineup. Steven Juarez says, was Trevino a bad dish behind, or is Martinez causing Trevino to look bad? I think that was more him. But there was another here. I'm so sorry if I can't. Let me see if I can find it. I can't find it real quick, but I'm sorry if you want to go ahead and shout yourself out. But talking about how 18 games of the season, Jose Trevino is the best hitter on the team right now. And guess what? Jose Trevino is the Reds player of the game. Now, before someone throws it at me, yes, he was thrown out at home. Probably shouldn't have gone. But J.R. House told him to go. And J.R. House should have known that he doesn't exactly have wheels. So I put that on J.R. House more than I put that on Jose Trevino. And also give the kid, what's the outfielder for them? Luke Raley, I think his name is. That's hilarious. Yeah, Luke Raley. What a name. We have a Fraley, we have a Maley. We had Luke Maley last year, and they have Luke Raley. Yeah, kid made a nice throw. Shouldn't have ever happened. That is on J.R. House. Shout out Jose Trevino for that one as well. Player of the game tonight. Making a case we moved up in the lineup? I think so. All right, guys. Nick Martinez tonight. This feels like I'm laying on the couch. I got the pillow, dimming the lights, and just talking to my therapist because I didn't expect this. Didn't expect this from him at all this year. I thought what we got in September at the end of the year last year was going to be what he was going to carry into the season. And going into this game, he really managed, even though he was getting hit the third time in the order. You heard Jeff and Steve talk about today on Locked On. He really managed to stay out of hard hit contact. Not the case today. Rosarena's double in the first, crushed. Cal Raleig's first home run, crushed. It was a bad day for Nick Martinez. I'm trying to figure out, because I understand the Reds are waiting on guys to get back in the rotation. How much longer can you do this with him? Should you skip his next outing? Should you see if... I'm not saying Carson Spires needs to come back up. Excuse me, I'm battling a cough coming up. It's like I've been doing so well this whole episode. So bear with me just a second. I will edit this later. All right, and I'm back. I thought I muted my mic. I did not. I apologize that you guys had to hear that. That was probably absolutely disgusting. But should they maybe skip his next start? See if they can get him to just kind of get it right? Maybe. I don't know what's going on with Brett Lauder. Not a whole lot of news going there as well. Maybe do bring up Carson Spires for a start or two. I don't know, but I'll tell you what. I really don't miss bullpen days. The old David Bell Classic, the old bullpen day when the starter wasn't going to go get his best stuff. So I don't want to see that either. But yeah, Nick Martinez starts when the other four guys are doing so well consistently, and then he's the one that's kind of having the fifth outing that's not very good. It needs to be discussed. So I just want to make sure we figure out what we're going to do there as well. But yeah, you also need another starter, like Steve says here. I agree with that as well. No bullpen days with Terry Francona. All right. That just needs to be hammered into the clubhouse. Like, it needs to be a giant sign just right here. I think it's a really good bullpen pitcher. I actually think he's a decent starter in general. Maybe a rough outing, but We shall see. But regardless, the Cincinnati Reds do lose tonight to snap their winning streak 5-3. And we have Seattle with 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors. The winning pitcher tonight is Bryce Miller. And then the Cincinnati Reds lose on 3 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error. The losing pitcher tonight is Nick Martinez. Andres Munoz of the Seattle Mariners gets his 7th save of the year. And the Reds have a chance still, guys, to win the series tomorrow. And that's all you want to do is win series. And you feel good because when Brady Singer's on the mound, the Reds like to score a lot of runs. So Brady Singer takes the mound tomorrow against one of my favorite up-and-coming pitchers in Major League Baseball, Seattle's Brian Wu, who is 2-0 with a 2.84 ERA. Singer checking in at a 3.0, a 3-0 with a 3.18 ERA. That game will be at 12:40. I'll be here probably about 4 o'clock Eastern tomorrow for the postcast to talk about the game. I am so happy I'm feeling significantly better. I'm so happy that I feel like myself again to be doing this podcast, and I can't wait to see how this game goes tomorrow. Feeling like a 4-0 Brady Singer thing's going to happen tomorrow. I'm just really feeling it. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night, and we'll see you later tomorrow, late tomorrow afternoon.